Hey friends, Mike and Jess here.
And welcome to Regeneration Nation TV. Today we are reacting to a video called American Cops versus British Cops. Bobbies? Is that what British cops are called? I don't know what that is, but this is from the Infographic Show.
We won't go over any slang terms for American cops.
Yeah, I don't want to do that.
You can look those up for yourself, okay? It's not great.
Oh my goodness.
We're not getting into that kind of behavior here.
You had to say it too. You had to say it.
Just saying.
Oh gosh.
But yeah, this is gonna be an interesting video.
It is. I'm really excited though for this because there's a lot of like hot topics on this. Like people could talk about this and go into further detail, political wise. Definitely different
this
views
could definitely
on it.
be viewed
But
as a political video, I guess. You know, the whole defund the police thing has been pretty big here over the past 5 years or so.
Mm-hmm.
I think that with police, it's, you know, there's a bad person in every field, you know, and I heard it recently, somebody else talking about it, like you deal with a carpenter and they do a terrible job and you go talking about like all carpenters are terrible, and it's like it's not the case.
No.
And I think that's the same thing with the police, you know. You have some bad apples in the bunch, but it doesn't make the entire bunch bad.
Yeah, definitely.
I think that they definitely do a great service to whatever country that they are serving in, for the most part. You know, there's obviously been many cases over the last few decades
where you have
alone,
corruption,
just since videotaping has become more prevalent.
Yeah.
To where obviously they're not all good.
Yeah.
And here, you know, they all carry guns, and that's been another hot topic of unjustifiable shootings and things like that. So I am interested to see what this video is going to get into.
Yes.
Like, how deep are we going to go?
Yeah.
But yeah, we've got links for this video, links for their channel down below. Go check it out. Go support them, and let's get into this.
Let's do it.
Video. Whatever we might think about the police, one thing that's certain is that we are fascinated by them. As early as the 50s, the police crime drama started filling our TV screens, and long before that, Arthur Conan Doyle and Edgar Allan Poe planted the seeds for the genre of detective fiction. The good cop, the bad cop, or even the rebel with a cause cop kind of shows in the 70s have evolved into more realistic series such as The Wire, which give us a more nuanced version of police work and those that do it. In real life, dashcam footage.
I'm sorry. What are we looking at here?
She's cleaning. She's a housewife.
Is this what you do when you watch crime shows? Is this you here?
Yes, spilling the cleaning solution all over where I don't need to spill it. Yeah, that's me.
I'm gonna come up behind
Guilty.
you. Like that. Woo!
As The Wire, which give us a more nuanced version of police work and those that do it. In real life, dashcam footage from police vehicles has also become a staple in the online content we consume. Today we are going to concentrate on real-life cops, and perhaps the two most famous, sometimes infamous police forces in the world, in this episode of the Infographic Show, American Cops versus British Cops. Don't forget to subscribe and click the bell button so that you can be part of our notification squad. Prior to what we consider an actual police force, the ancients had many ways to police the polis, or city. Slaves in ancient Greece would handle the rowdy crowds when tempers flared, while the Romans might set the Praetorian Guard on out-of-control rioters. Through the ages, there have been myriad ways to maintain public order, and also some pretty gruesome punishments for those that breach the accepted rules. In the UK, it wasn't until 1749 when a judge named Henry Fielding created what was called the Bow Street Runners, the first time Britain had anything what we can associate with today's police force. As British cities grew at a rapid pace under the Industrial Revolution, so did crime. And so on September 29, 1829, the Metropolitan Police Service was formed in London, and it is said to be the first modern police force ever created. The man behind it, Sir Robert Peel, explained why England needed cops. I want to teach people that liberty does not consist in having your house robbed by organized gangs of thieves and in leaving the principal streets of London in the nightly possession of drunken women and vagabonds. Why were they nicknamed Bobbies? Well, after their founder, Robert. As you know, the USA was noted for its Wild West outlaws. One of those was Billy the Kid, who was shot by Sheriff Pat Garrett in 1881. Like Britain, America had ways to control crime, but for a long time there was no formal police force, and so the job of keeping folks in line often went to private contractors such as the Pinkerton National Detective Agency. Systems including night watchmen and even what some called goons for hire weren't workable as the USA grew in population. It's thought that the first American formal police force was created in Boston in 1838, New York City followed in 1845, and by the 1880s, just about all American cities had an organized police force. Now that we know something about the history of these two countries' police forces, let's look at the present day. The number of police officers in just England and Wales has decreased significantly in the last decade, which has become a major political issue in the UK. The number in 2016 of officers in the force was 124,066, down from 143,769 7 years before that. The number of full-time officers working in Scotland in 2016 was 17,242, and the number in Northern Ireland was 6,773. That's a total of 148,081 police officers working all over the United Kingdom.
Wow.
Man, that's so low.
Yeah.
Compared to what, like, if you had me guess beforehand,
Yeah.
I would have said $1 million, $2 million or something at least.
Yeah? For real?
Yeah. That's crazy.
That is insane.
That's a total of 148,081 police officers working all over the United Kingdom. The population of the UK is 65.64 million, so roughly there is one police officer for every 448 people. Much of the British media and the public are saying that is not enough, especially as the crime rate rise in the UK is rising faster than it has in a decade. This includes a rise in violent crimes and homicide. Over the pond in the USA, crime
This
rate...
video is from 7 years ago. So I would be interested to see
what it
these
is
numbers
now
compared to now. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Rates are much higher, and as some police departments are looking more like military units, the role of police in society has met with some controversy. Finding the actual number of sworn police officers working in the USA in 2016 isn't that easy. This is because figures given by the US Bureau of Justice Statistics haven't been updated in a few years. The total number of police agencies in the US is around 18,000, but that includes all branches of police. If we take just local police departments, that number is more like 15,500, according to PolitiFact. The old data that is often cited says that in 2008, there were 765,000 officers that had the power to make an arrest. The US Department of Justice gives the number of 750,340 for 2012. According to the National Law Enforcement Officers Memorial Fund, that number has shot up and is presently about 900,000. The US population is 323.1 million, so that means that roughly there is one cop for every 359 people. One of the major differences is that in the USA, police carry guns, as do 36% of American households, according to the Washington Post. It's reported that in 2016, 135 police officers died in the line of duty, with around half of those that died being fatally shot. The Guardian reports that the number of officers killed in the line of duty in the UK is a total of 11 since 2010, although many officers are assaulted in the UK. In 2015, it was reported that 23,000 assaults occurred against officers in just England and Wales. In 2017, the Police Federation of England and Wales reported this figure to be not even close to the real number. It said there were 2.4 million assaults in 2016, meaning an officer was attacked every 13 seconds that year. 300,000.
What's crazy though is those numbers compared to the deaths.
Yeah.
Like the possibility of dying on duty is very, very low. It's not zero, but still 11 deaths
according to their numbers. Yeah, definitely.
I mean, that's a very, I mean, in reality, that's a very good statistic. Like if I'm gonna be going into law enforcement in the UK, I mean, it's like the statistics are very low. I mean, even in ours, it's very low too. But man, it's still 11 though. Is nowhere close to what ours was.
Yeah.
0.4 million assaults in 2016, meaning an officer was attacked every 13 seconds that year. 300,000 of them involved attacks with deadly weapons. The report said the average police officer is assaulted 19 times a year. On the other hand, in the USA in 2016, police officers killed a total of 1,093 people. According to Inquest.org, in the UK in 2016, a total of 5 people were shot and killed by police. The total number of people shot and killed in the UK since 1990 is 67. We should add here that regular cops in the UK don't carry guns, but armed police can be called when it's thought guns are needed. Police in Northern Ireland are different, routinely carrying firearms. According to the
I did not know that. I did not know that any carried guns.
Yeah.
So that's something that.
So they do have it for special situations,
which is good.
Like. Yeah.
I mean, I feel like it's good. That's just me, my bias, I guess. I'm not personally. Well, I don't know if I should say that. You guys might find where I live. Think you can get in here and do something. Listen. Just leave it at that.
Say that.
Assault guns are needed. Police and
I was just gonna say, like, this whole thing right here, comparing it to different parts of the world and how they carry their police force as opposed to how we do it, and the fact that we have such high numbers on the death toll on both sides, like cops getting killed and people that are committing crimes or possibly committing crimes, because I don't even know how they get those numbers, because there's been a lot of stories where police make a mistake and they use unnecessary force and things happen that don't need to happen. I don't know how many stories those are very unfortunate stories, but it's just crazy to me that no weapon compared to having a weapon. Like, everyone is equipped with a weapon here in the US.
Yeah.
And I feel like some of them should have more training and more things that there need to be cleared of, even mentally wise, like mental health wise. I feel like they should be doing more of that, like, constantly, because I know that when you get it out of the police force, before you get a badge and a gun, they do all these things, but I feel like it should be necessary for you to complete those every once in a while. Even if it's like every 5 years, you have to recomplete it. Because I mean, you go through a lot through I'm not going to pretend like I know what it is to be a cop, but you go through a lot of situations that regular people don't go through. Like, you are in situations that could mess you up mentally, and you're not going to be taken care of by taking that mental test before you get your gun and your badge one time. You're going to have to do
change
it
over
constantly. Yeah.
Just a matter of months, let alone years.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a tough situation to be in as a human being, because they are still human beings at the end of the day.
Exactly. Yeah.
And you have to see some and deal with some pretty crazy things, and like you said, one mental evaluation at the very beginning is probably not enough.
Yeah. Because I know that once you go through something like that, they do put you through a counselor or something, but I feel like it should be required.
Even just the day in, day out dealing with messed up people, you know, and it could make you a different person over a matter of months or years.
Yeah, definitely.
So you could do something 2 years from now that you would never conceive of doing right now.
Yeah.
Regular cops in the UK don't carry guns, but armed police can be called when it's thought guns are needed. Police in Northern Ireland are different, routinely carrying firearms. According to the newspaper The Mirror, in 2016 there were 1,863,524 legally owned guns in Wales and England, most of which were shotguns. It's thought there are another 277,000 guns in Scotland and a further 150,000 legally owned guns in Northern Ireland. The same newspaper said there were another 2 million illegally owned guns on the UK streets, which has raised the question if the UK police should be given firearms. The murder rate per capita in the US is still 30 times higher.
I didn't think that guns were allowed in the UK, so that's something new. Like, 2 million illegal guns, but I didn't think they were allowed at all, so that's something new to me.
Such a high number of illegal ones, that makes sense then if they're not allowed.
So
but
this is 7 years ago. I don't know if something's changed since then, but why do I think that? We've even got comments like, you guys sure love your guns over there, and I thought that was more like furthering home the fact that you guys don't have guns at all.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Educate us.
Higher than in the UK, which might not be surprising considering there are more guns than people in the country, according to the Washington Post. As for assaults on officers, there were 51,548 assaults against US police officers in 2015, with a total of 14,453 injuries sustained. With this in mind, how does life on the job compare between the two forces, and how do you even get a job as a police officer? In the UK, you can join when you are 18. There are no restrictions on height, but the force does ask you to be in good enough physical and mental shape to undertake police duties. No formal qualifications are required, but you will need to pass some tests to get in. Pass them and you are in, just as long as you haven't committed any serious offenses in the past. It's similar in the US, although the police force does usually ask for a high school diploma and that you are either 18 or 21 depending on the department. You'll have to train at a police academy and have either a clean criminal record or have only committed minor offenses. There is no minimum or maximum height or weight limit, but in the academy you'll have to pass certain physical agility tests. Nowhere does it state you have to enjoy eating donuts. Wages vary, but in England, Wales, and Northern Ireland you can expect to start your career as a police constable on anything from $25,000 US to $30,000. If you work hard, UK career websites say that within about 7 years, that wage can be $48,872 US. You should work a 40-hour week, although police work can often mean overtime and also emergency callouts. You'll get 23 days annual leave and also full sick pay. The pension varies depending on time worked, but the average police pension in the UK is thought to be around $20,465 a year, and the normal retirement age is 60. In the US, salaries differ from state to state, but a rookie cop working in the NYPD can expect to earn $46,288 per year. After 5.5 years, this could rise to $90,829 if you have done well. Other states have average wages closer to $30,000 and others $70,000 according to career website Crom. You'll get 10 days paid vacation to start with, but after 5 years it will increase to 27 days. You'll also receive unlimited fully paid sick days, medical benefits, dental benefits, and optional retirement after 22 years on the force. Like the UK, you will work around 40 hours a week in shift.
Whoa. Let's get back here for a second.
according to career website Crom. You'll get 10 days paid vacation to start with, but after 5 years it will increase to 27 days. You'll also receive unlimited fully paid sick days, medical benefits, dental benefits, and optional retirement after 22 years on the force. Like the UK, you will work around 40 hours a week in shifts, but
is it lumping
I think he was just lumping. I don't think he was doing, I think he was talking about retirement.
Well, short pause right there is needed to separate the two things.
I think he was talking about the optional retirement.
After 22 years,
yeah,
you get the optional retirement.
Yeah, I think
the
that's
other
what it was.
Things.
That would be ridiculous if you had to wait 22 years to get all your benefits.
I'm ready
You'll
to
have
retire
dental benefits
now, and you just giving me dental?
I don't think that's the case.
Optional retirement after 22 years on the force. Like the UK, you will work around 40 hours a week in shifts, but that might change with overtime. How much pension you receive can be affected by multiple factors, but various websites put the average police pension anywhere from $58,000 to $62,000. With money in mind, we'll end the show there. Where would you rather be a cop, the UK or the US? Let us know in the comments. Also, be sure to check out our other video called Top 10 Most Powerful Militaries in the World. Thanks for watching, and as always, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. See you next time.
We've heard about so many stories here, even in our own county that we live in. Mm-hmm. Just a year or two ago, there was a young police officer with a beautiful family, beautiful family, and he lost his life to gun violence. And so, yeah, I sold my motorcycle because I had a family and I didn't want to leave them behind. So I'm pretty risk averse. I would definitely prefer to be a police officer in the UK.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like when you don't have weapons, you have to have things in place in order to de-escalate a situation in a certain way. And I feel like because we have guns, we have tasers, and we have, rubber bullet, we have options. We have other options besides using that.
I'm not a police officer. I've never been in those situations, so and you aren't either. So everything that we say right now is just from our point of view. Don't take it as like fact, or that we think that this is the way this should be. It's just our opinion on the way that we view things from our position.
Our perspective for sure. But I feel like I would be probably in the UK just because not having a weapon, I feel like you use your brain a lot more in those situations. You problem solve a lot better. You're able to de-escalate a situation without having that plan B, like, I have this weapon. I can take charge in this moment. Because a lot of things can happen, especially if your adrenaline is going super, super high. All your emotions are going, like, I couldn't even imagine being in that situation, having a gun in my hand. Like, you'd have to be trained. Obviously, they do train our police officers here. I won't doubt that. But, yeah, I feel like I would feel a little bit better if I had...
And my knowledge on this is very limited. Yeah. But I have somebody that I know that they talk to me about their gun training. This is just a civilian going and getting their concealed carry license. The person told them all of the legal loopholes, the loopholes to where you could basically legally kill somebody if they were trying to hurt you in your yard, drag them inside before you shoot them. Just terrible things. I was like, dude, and they're teaching you this?
Yeah.
That's crazy. I also used to play online games, and there was a person who joined the group call that we were in one night, and he was a police officer at the time. He said that it is a regular occurrence for them to turn off their cameras. He said all you basically have to do is just run a little bit, turn it off, throw it off, and then you can basically, like, if your supervisor's like, where's the footage, like, hey, it came off when I was running after the suspect, and then you can just do whatever you want. So there are loopholes that you can get away with that I know firsthand. I've heard about these stories that it's just like, man, it's a messed up situation.
It is, because you don't know who's telling the truth, and especially if they have certain like loopholes to get around that. Like the fact that somebody that you trust to be in that position is actually thinking of ways to do that to you, to corrupt the system and make it to where they can tell you whatever they want and there's no proof of it. Like body cams are put on them so we can have proof and that peace of mind knowing what happened. Like we have physical proof of what happened. And they're trying to get around it so they could do whatever they want and abuse their power. That's terrifying.
Yep.
To have somebody in a position of power that abuses it and tries to find ways around it. Like,
yeah, I remember listening to the Joe Rogan podcast. He had a police officer, former, I cannot remember the city, but it was one of like a very crime-ridden city here in the U.S. And he was just talking about, how bad everything was when he was there. But he's like, he couldn't deny like the the thrill that you get chasing somebody down like that is like nothing he's ever felt. And when you know that you can get that thrill or chases going on, more likely in this part of town, you're going to gravitate towards that part of town. And another thing I kept wanting to say, like, I've seen so many videos to where a suspect is coming at a police officer, just coming at them, not armed, just coming at them to grab them or tackle them. And instead of shooting them in the leg or something like that, they just go for the chest. And it's just like, to me, I haven't gone through the training or anything like that, so I don't know. But I would try to shoot you in the leg. I just don't understand the whole aim for the chest first. Like, you're basically killing that person, guaranteed.
Yeah.
Which there's a lot of stuff that I don't agree with here.
There's a lot. There's a lot.
I also don't understand it very well.
No, there's a lot of things that we probably could be educated on in it, but we're just going by what we see. And like the start of this video was the housewife bending over watching while she's doing her duties, and I'm super guilty of that. Like, I'm super guilty of, there's videos all over the internet of dash cam footage and body cam footage, and it's very addicting to watch because I could sit there and watch it all day long. So I'm only going by what I see on what the media puts out there, you know, but it's just crazy to me. I feel like I would love to live in that utopian society where you know that the people that have the badge on they have integrity. They're not gonna, abuse their power. They're gonna tell you the truth. Yeah, they're not gonna be, we're human. We do have those feelings. Like you saying that guy coming in and saying that the thrill that you get from chasing someone, that kind of goes back to you being a little kid and playing guns and robbers, cops and robbers with your friends, you get excited. You're the hero. You know what I mean? You get to save the day kind of thing. Though. But to have that as an adult, it's a little bit outlandish to me, especially when you need to be professional in a professional setting. You can't just let your little kid run away. Like, that's why they don't let kids be cops, is because they go very much by their their thoughts. What do they call those? The intrusive thoughts. They let their intrusive thoughts win. So you can't do that in your job and professionalism. But yeah, it's so crazy. Like, I would love to know that all the cops on the force signed on and they all have integrity. They all kept their promise. They kept their word. They're not going to be taking money under the table, or they're not going to be lying about something, trying to hide something. But that would be in a perfect world, and we don't live in a perfect world.
I have the utmost respect to anybody who signs up to the police report or the police force with good intentions. Mm-hmm. It's a scary job. Your whole job is to protect and serve. Yeah, that's what you're supposed to be doing. So if you go in there with good intentions and everything, and you're putting your life on the line, you have my full respect and appreciation.
Absolutely.
I am not in the mindset of defund the police or anything. It's a crazy notion to be like, we're just gonna self-govern ourselves. There's crazy people out there. But at the same time, there does need to be a better job done at vetting these people and continuing to vet them. There has to be a continual vetting process, because people change over time, and that job, out of all of them, it's very taxing on your mind. It's just, you can't do this for very long. It seems like there should be term limits or something.
I agree
certain
with that
checks,
too. Checks. Like we said before we started this video, this is just us being introduced to, versus cops here and British cops or whatever. We're not trying to say anything like this is the end all be all. This is factual, but it is our opinion, and it was nice to kind of get into this and see something from a different perspective and different part of the world. But yeah, I don't want anybody to go in the comment section and be like, what do you mean? Like, we're not trying to push anybody, sway anybody. Man. It's just our opinion, for sure.
And I am not the type of person that will hold on to an opinion no matter what. If you come to me with new evidence, I'm a pretty I go with new evidence. I'm not gonna block out new evidence that's showed to me and keep my opinion no matter what. I'm a pretty easygoing guy. But either way, hopefully you enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching. Thanks to everybody who recommended it to us. And if there's any more videos like this you want us to check out, leave those suggestions down below.
Yes.
All right, friends, stay safe out there. We'll see you on the next one.
Bye, friends.
Peace.
I'm not scared of your love, so show me it.